we're talking about JFK assassination. Sweetie, stand up here. And so what? Okay, I'm going to get into some real heavy stuff with the FBI, the CIA, the IRS, everybody. I used to work for them since I was 18. My father was military intelligence. My stepfather, Larry T. House. We lived at the Presidio of San Francisco. My father, we met him when my mother married him in Miles City, Montana. That was a branch of Area 51. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on. What was going on up there? Now they closed it down. They moved us to the Presidio of San Francisco, right at the south end of the Golden Gate Bridge. And he ran Fort Baker. He drove across the bridge. There's a fort down there. Ran Fort Baker. And he was in charge of taking the federal prisoners. They had the army boats. He was in charge of taking everything to Alcatraz. If it ain't in his boat, they're going to get shot. No other boat comes to Alcatraz but his boats. And his army men have machine guns because they carried all these criminals back and forth. From there, I'm going to get into the assassination. This got me in trouble because 3 years ago I said, okay, everybody's wondering what happened at the assassination. I have a piece of the puzzle. And you're gonna understand after I go through the actual news clippings. I'm not against, my wife and I are not against the government. We're for heaven. I'm not even here. So here's what I wrote that got me in trouble on the internet. I put it on here. JFK assassination. I'm the only living person who knows why JFK was murdered. I'm the only living person that knows why JFK was murdered. Everybody's still talking, hey, who did it? Why? I'm going to tell you that in just 1 minute. Look up my stepbrother, Donald House, JFK. We have that news clipping here. My stepbrother was arrested a half hour after the assassination. I'm going to tell you stuff that just changes the world. My stepbrother was arrested 30 minutes after the JFK assassination, 30 miles away from Dallas. I've used the actual news clippings to explain in detail JFK, Lee Harvey Oswald. I'm going to go through now. Thank you for not interrupting me. So don't interrupt. Let me go through this because it's 50 years old, and I'm going to do the news clippings. I'm going to show you the camera, the news, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to say, do it again, do it again, do it again, because there's stuff that we're missing in this.
And I'm going to do my best to keep up.
Yeah, and to tell you how important this is right now. My wife and I, we've been shot at. They tried to poison us, all right, because I put this stuff on the internet. So 3 years ago, what I'm telling you, because they know by looking up what your Social Security number or who you are, they know who your relatives are. So what happened? We were driving to VA hospital in Murfreesboro. 3 years. Oh, so they told me to get this stuff off the internet. What I'm telling you, they told me to get this stuff off the internet. I didn't do anything. All right. 3 months later, my wife and I are driving to VA hospital in Murfreesboro, and our rear tire, brand new Michelin's from Heritage, our rear tire got shot out. Look. So I go out there, and it happened to be a policeman, so it's recorded. It happened to be a policeman that drove up right then and said, can I help you? Since I'm 71 and have gray hair, he changed the whole tire in his uniform. So I felt really neat about that, but it's recorded. We know what his name was and all that. So we take the tire down to Heritage, and I say, see if it's fixable, because that's a brand new $200 tire. And the guy comes in the waiting room, the tire man, And he says, Mr. Stone, somebody's trying to kill you. And I said, what's going on? He said, well, it's a bullet. It's a bullet in your tire. So we've also had called, who was it? Lawrence County 911. I came home. I came in the house. She has lunch ready for me at noon. And this was 3 years ago. And so my wife takes the tea bags, opens them up, puts the actual tea leaves in the boiling water. And out falls a pill, a capsule. So I said, oh, wait a minute. So, okay, so we called 911, and I explained it to them, and the fire chief came out. And these are beautiful men. I mean, real honest men. And he came out, and he said, okay, he said he had a briefcase computer. And he said, Mr. Stone, you're contaminated already, if it is what it might be, if it is poison. You're contaminated. So he said, I'm putting this briefcase there. You take the capsule, open it up, put it on the glass, and screw a screw down on there, and we'll know what type of poison it is. And he's in touch with the U.S. head of Homeland Security on the phone. All the while we're doing this. So I screw it down, and he gets the number reading on it, and he goes and tells the guy, the head of the Homeland Security, and they come back, and he says, it's a new poison from Turkey, and he says there's no taste, no detection. New poison. So they confiscated $100 worth of our tea, and I said, yeah, take it. Take it. I mean, I don't want to drink that kind of stuff. So anyhow, what I'm about to give you is the Kennedy assassination. And I've had these people call me. I get up at 2 in the morning. My wife and I go to bed at sundown. I've had these people call me 10 times and saying if I talk any more about the Kennedy assassination, that they're going to do all kinds of terrible things to me. And these people are the people that I've worked with in the past for the government. All right, they're not even in this country. There was 20 people on the phone, and they all told me what I did the next day. They told me, you walked in Walmart, you went here, you went there. So yeah, no problem. But this is the recording. So Al's going to hook this up, and we're only going to listen to it for 5 minutes because it goes on for 45 minutes. And the Lawrence County Police, they listened to it for 45 minutes 3 weeks ago, and they said, hey, this is way above us, because they said, you got to go to the FBI with what I'm going to, with the information I'm going to give you. And anybody who wants to hear the whole 45 minutes, just call me up, and I'll let you listen to it. But this is one of I made 3 recordings, 3 different telephone call recordings. You want to know how to start?
You start.
Okay. Hold that, Coach now.
Be heavy or breaking. Maybe you like in a pickup truck or something.
No, I'm at home. I'm at home. Go ahead. What is going on? I'm a friendly person. I'm a family person. I don't ever kill nobody. I love people. So let's get on with it.
What here? You're talking a lot of rubbish.
Well, I can't hear
You're enemies with the roost.
Someone will come to
You made enemies with the roost.
Now they also tell me that if I do this,
How do you say enemies with the roost?
expose my brother and the information, they say it's going to ruin permanently the relationship between Russia and America.
And we're just trying to straighten many fucking truths. You tell so many truths. We just need you to straighten some things out.
What would you like me to straighten out? Pardon me?
Everything you said about that. Up there.
I've got 3 people talking to me. Somebody just talked to me, so I can hear them and understand them.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Okay, I am here. We need you to publicly apologize to the Russian government. Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. Are you hanging up, or what do you want to say?
No. We want apology, sir.
Apology for what, sir?
For speaking.
No, you don't understand. You don't, now, just a minute, she says misinformation. I worked for the government since I was 18, all right? I worked for George Soros also. I worked for Donald Trump.
We have documentation that tells me you are
Wait a minute. First of all, sir, who the fuck is George Soros? Who is he?
Okay. If you're Russian, you know who George Soros is.
Well, I guess I'm not Russian. Maybe your government lied to you.
Listen, sir, we do not believe your information, and I connected you with my conference.
Okay.
And I would like you to respect.
That's fine.
Be respectful,
That's fine.
sir.
If you don't believe, that's okay. Please don't use the word conspiracy theory or anything. I have information that answers everything. No, please don't interrupt me. I listen to you. I have information that answers everything that's in the news up till today, up to this moment. All right, the plane that disappeared. I know what that was all about. I was involved with that. The World Trade Center bombing. I was involved with that for the government. I have facts and names to give you, and all these people are coming down.
Okay, yes. Before my colleagues, they will chuckle in, I'm sorry. Before they do that, what kind of information do you have?
Well,
Please, make it short, quick.
no. Why should I give you the information? I've already given it to people. I've already given it to the government. If you're close to the government, you can get it from them. I mean, you've already threatened me. Why should I give you information? And you think whatever's happened since Kennedy or Eisenhower, just a minute, whatever's happened since Kennedy or Eisenhower in 60 years, you think in 2 sentences I'm going to give you the information?
Yes, sir.
No, because it goes
If
on.
you do not, we do know a lot of things. And, well, I'm not going to say anything, but, you should know.
You couldn't.
All right, American colleague.
Okay, what did he say?
American
I got 3 people talking. Will one person talk to me, please? I'm on a speakerphone, so the quality's not that good. Now, I'll shut up and listen to one person talk.
Yes, my American colleague would like to talk.
Okay, what?
Go ahead, American.
I'm touching base with you, sir. You're making some statements, and we're just trying to, just smooth things out, and you're making my job difficult. I'm just saying that everything's pre-recorded.
Okay. I understand.
Thank you.
What is it pre-recorded for? For a YouTube station or for some kind of a government? Just do you want to answer any of those questions?
Some kind of government that you stated you've worked with before, and I'd love to apologize to my conglomerates right now. This gentleman is obviously off his rockers.
All right, sir. Yes, my colleague there, the word.
Well, the guy, what comes to my mind, are you the same people that called me, I think it was Sunday or so?
No, this is our first contact.
This is our first contact, because one guy called me, he wanted to know about Area 51. I was there.
Well, I mean,
I was there. I have my family is working there right now, and I can't tell you any more about Area 51. Okay, just cut it.
that is something that we would like.
Thank you. So, yeah, anybody who wants to hear the whole thing, call me up. I'll let you hear that one. That's one of 10 phone calls. 3 of them. I tape 3 of them. And I don't even answer the phone anymore, but that's the recording, this 45 minutes that the Lawrence County 3 policemen listened to it. So we're going to get into this information. You'll see what I mean. So okay? The first one is Kim, or how do we find that one?
One is house.
The first one is my brother.
The first one is house, if you want that
Okay,
one to go
house.
first.
Okay, go ahead. That's the first two.
The first one, and then the
First
second's
one.
bubble top.
Number one is how? And you want number one?
What,
One's house, two's bubble top. Which one do you
yeah,
want?
one is house first.
Yeah.
That's my brother, and then the bubble top. And the bubble top is gonna change the world when you see that.
All right, here's your brother.
All right.
You wanna play this?
The car wanted in connection with the assassination of President Kennedy has been stopped in Fort Worth. Police report that the suspect in the shooting is in custody. Further word will come later. Fort Worth is 30 miles west of Dallas. Just a few minutes before this report, we heard from one of our newsmen in Dallas on the scene, James Kerr, who said that a Dallas policeman, J.D. Tippett, was shot to death by an unknown man in a car minutes after the President and Governor Connally were shot. The officer was shot about 2 miles from the scene of the presidential assassination. Repeating the first of this bulletin, the car wanted in connection with the assassination of President Kennedy has been stopped in Fort Worth. At an intersection, police reported that they had the suspect in the shooting on the ground. We hope further confirmation will come on this momentarily. This is Charles Murphy reporting from WBAP-TV, Fort Worth, Dallas.
In Fort Worth, 28 miles west of Dallas, police picked up one suspect who was later cleared and released. The man apprehended was identified by Fort Worth police as 22-year-old Donald House of Ranger, Texas. House was picked up after Dallas police put out a pickup order on his car following the shooting and killing of a Dallas police officer. As he was taken into police headquarters, House shouted, "I didn't do it." And after questioning, he was completely cleared and released.
Now, God, we're going to inoculate this
Okay, take it back to the beginning, please. I know I'm gonna go through this probably 3 times, then we'll move it on.
How far back?
All the way back, please. What they said, now, do you remember Lee Harvey Oswald? They said that he shot Tippett, and see, there's some people older than me that remember this. Lee Harvey Oswald shot Tippett, which was a policeman. And then he went to the theater. And there are all the newsmen that said if he was running, he would have been arrested. He would have been noticed, because it was 5 blocks to the theater. And there are newsmen that will walk fast. And they get to the theater and they said, "I'm 2 minutes late." Because he made it faster after the shooting. He made it faster. I want to explain that whole thing. The other thing is, they said here, now they're not going to give you this news as Tippett was shot and tell you there was a car involved unless there was a car involved. That's all been redone. Okay. My brother was driving the car. My brother was the umbrella man. I'll prove that later at the assassination. Here's the thing that ties the whole assassination into Russia and Great Britain. And this is what this is what's going to get me in trouble, but our parents told us, you got to tell the truth, don't you? Okay. This is it. Do you remember the gun? The police flooded the theater, and the first policeman that came up to him, he put the revolver up to the policeman's head, and it misfired. The policeman said it misfired. It didn't misfire. What happened was, it was a 5-shot revolver, and this is MI6, British intelligence. They only are allowed to have, at that time, 1962, they're only allowed to have 5-shot revolvers with the barrel bored out from the factory. That's the gun. They still have the gun, all right? It's a 5-shot revolver, they're British intelligence, with the barrel bored out from the factory. And that's it, that's the gun. And so my brother they still haven't figured out, like I said, how did he get over to the theater so fast? If he was running, he could make it at a dead run. So my brother dropped him off a block away, my brother drove off, all right? And that's why that's why they said on this, it was a car involved in the shooting. Oh, back to Tippit. I want to tell, here's the joke, nobody knows. Okay, how does this have to do with the assassination? Okay, Tippit looked like Kennedy. Did you hear what I just said? He was thin, and even in the police force, they called him Kennedy. That's his nickname, because he looked like Kennedy. And that's why at the assassination, the chief of police said, Tippit, stay on the corner where you're at. Because it was set up by the police to get killed. They needed the body to take back to Washington, D.C. on the plane and redo the body. Redo the wounds. That's the joke. Now, what happened? So they're not going to say there was a car involved. They're trying to tell you that Lee Harvey Oswald walked all that distance. He didn't. All right. They arrested my brother, and what I want you to see, they arrested him, and I wanted to tell you something. I've been looking for ever since for 2 months. I've been looking for my military ID from the Presidio of San Francisco. It has my father's name on it, Larry T. House. It has, and then I have my social security number. I was 11 years old, and Gary M. House, his name. And I brought it here before, this is what got me in trouble, and we put it on YouTube. All right, and I went over with Kim on the camera, and I said, what does that say? It says Presidio, it says all that on it, all right? I'm still trying to find it. Because of this, everything I'm doing, I have 5 file cabinets full of papers. So eventually I'll find it, but at least I thought about Kim. Now, go ahead. Now I want you to know about my brother. I want you to look up sheep dipped. Is there somebody that can look up sheep dipped on their cell phone? This is going to knock you out. Is there somebody looking up sheep dipped? Sheep dipped. SHEEPDIPPED. Okay, did you find it? Did somebody find it? Oh, you don't have cell phone service here. Okay, does Gail find it?
Did you say your brother shot Tippit?
Yeah. And did I already mention that the gun, I already said it's a 5-shot, but that's why Lee Harvey Oswald thought he had one more bullet in it. And he thought it was a 6-shot. And that brings in British intelligence. Okay, we don't get cell service here, I think.
I got something.
Okay, you got sheep dipped. Okay, now what he's going to say, I'm going to tell you this is intelligence stuff. What he's going to say is that the military takes certain men. Lee Harvey Oswald, Timothy McVeigh, all of these guys are sheep dipped from the military. You're perfect. You're a sheep. We're going to sheep dip you. You're in our community now. We're going to train you to assassinate. And you're on the base. Oh, you're Lee Harvey Oswald. We trained you to what is it? What is that? What are those sniper? We're going to train you sniper, but on your record, on your military record, we dumped you. You weren't good enough. We kicked you out. So there's no record of you. That's what sheep dipped is. Oh, go ahead and read, please.
Okay, it says, what is sheep dip slang? They use the word slang after it, because if not, it refers to sheep. But the slang is U.S. espionage to formally and usually temporarily transfer military equipment or personnel to non-military ownership for the purpose of its employment in covert action with less risk of triggering armed conflict.
Right.
Yeah, that's what mine said.
Okay, I think people understand what that is. All right, my brother, at that time, 1963, when Kennedy was assassinated, my brother was an explosive expert, and he was sheep dipped also. All right, Now my brother, if you look back 1963 and back 62, 61, he was sent in by the government to go into the colleges and universities. You see how big he was? He's that big. He's 22 years old. He was sent to go into the colleges and universities. He would get young boys that wanted to change the world. He said, hey, I want to go blow up, let's go blow up a bridge, get your friends. And he would go and they would get 5 or so, after a couple of weeks, 5, and my brother would say, look, I got the dynamite right here, we'll go out and blow up something out in the woods, and it's great, man, we're going to go blow up a freeway bridge. So they all go down there to blow up, these are good boys. He goes down there to blow them up, shows them how to strap everything up, the FBI come, and they arrest everybody. And the FBI says, many times, and the FBI says, hey, we caught some revolutionaries, we're going to blow up the Seattle freeway bridge. And we got the dynamite too. That was my brother. He did that, he went around did that a lot. All right? So go ahead, play again, please.
The car wanted in connection with the assassination of President Kennedy.
The whole thing, if you watch, I told you my brother was the umbrella man. The whole thing, if you watch this, he said the car in question was a Rambler Nash. Okay? At that time, 1963, very few people had them. My father had it. That was the car that was seen, a Rambler Nash at the assassination. It was such a popular car, nobody had it. We would drive down the road and people would stop and say, I want to buy that. Whatever you want to buy it for. I don't know why they were so hot for Rambler Nashes. But that's what, who was it? The FBI called me and I said, look up his, Look up my dad's registration, 1963. He owned a Rambler Nash. Okay, go on.
Has been stopped in Fort Worth. Police report that the suspect in the shooting is in custody. Further word will come later. Fort Worth is 30 miles west of Dallas. Just a few minutes before this report, we heard from one of our newsmen in Dallas on the scene, James Kerr, who said that a Dallas policeman, J.D. Tippett, was shot to death by an unknown man in a car minutes after the president...
Okay, an unknown man in a car. Lee Harvey Oswald didn't walk up to him and say, I want to shoot you. They're not going to give you that. They changed the news. Go on, please.
The officer was shot about 2 miles from the scene of the presidential assassination. Repeating the first of this bulletin, the car wanted in connection with the assassination of President Kennedy has been stopped in Fort Worth. At an intersection, police reported that they had the suspect in the shooting on the ground. We hope further confirmation will come on this momentarily. This is Charles Murphy reporting from WBAP-TV, Fort Worth, Dallas.
In Fort Worth, 28 miles west of Dallas, police picked up one suspect who was later cleared and released.
Okay,
The man apprehended.
so let's say he was there for 2 hours. When they released him, hey, you're fired. Lee Harvey Oswald did it. Okay, go home. He disappeared on the way home. Nobody's seen him since. Rest his soul.
Your brother.
Nobody's seen him since. Rest his soul.
Your brother?
Yeah, my stepbrother.
Okay.
Because we already got. Now my stepfather was in charge of all this, military intelligence. We get into the shooting of Lee Harvey Oswald. You're gonna see a lot of stuff. Okay, keep going.
And it was identified by Fort Worth police as 22-year-old Donald House of Ranger, Texas. House was picked up after Dallas police put out a pickup order on his car following the shooting and killing of a Dallas police officer. As he was taken into police headquarters, House shouted, "I didn't do it." And after questioning, he was completely cleared and released.
Listen what the cameraman says. Okay, go back again. Just to hear what that man said. He said, now, oh my God, now we got to indoctrinate this man. This guy, okay. All right, thank you. Now here's what happens. On the third video we get to, where Lee Harvey Oswald is shot dead, that same man says the same thing. What's he doing there at both shootings? You're going to hear him say the same thing. okay? That's a code. What he just said, that's a code in it. Okay, we're done with that one. Let's do the next one, which is George Soros. All right,
It's
nobody
bubble
knows
top.
this. All right, George Soros. Raise your hand. Who knows who George Soros is? All right. All right. People don't know who George Soros is? Okay. All right. George Soros is a billionaire. He has 30 billion. He's also.
That's all the Black Lives Matter.
That's the bubble. Okay, that's the right one. Nobody knows. See, my father was the mastermind of the assassination. What happened? George Soros was involved. We lived at the Presidio of San Francisco. When I was 11 years old, George would come and visit my father and talk about the assassination a month before. My father would go and say, "Here's George Soros. Shake your hand, Rocky." So I'd shake his hand. "Hi, George." So I know George. All right? So here's what happened. What you're going to see here is something that nobody knows in this room. Nobody knows outside this world. This information, what you're going to see is the bubble top. This is a talk between 2 or 3 people, a newsman or something, a sit-down talk. And they're going to say, but the bubble wouldn't have done anything anyhow if you would have left it on. But everybody knows the bubble would have deflected the bullet. All right? Now, George Soros, I'm going to tell you the news. George Soros was the head of the Secret Service in Dallas at that time. He was just given the job 2 weeks before. This is Georgesoros. All right? And they're going to actually say his name. So now what you're going to see is the newsman at the meeting is going to say, "Oh, George Soros, I know him very well." And on the writing down here, they're going to say Soros, and they're not going to say George. You'll hear him say George. So carry on with that.
Elizabeth Forsling Harris was a Democratic Party organizer for the Kennedy visit. When the skies cleared later that morning,
Is it loud enough there?
Turn the volume up.
Where?
Take the famous bubble Harris was a Democratic Party organizer for the Kennedy
Yeah, we're not there anyhow.
He don't have closed captions. He don't have words. He would not put the words on there.
Oh, okay.
It didn't have the word.
It will not download.
Okay. Here's what happened. What I just found out. Well, but Kim will verify it.
Yeah, I seen it.
Oh, what is it called? People can look it up. Oh, you can call me and I'll tell you which video this is.
Yeah, I have
Okay.
links. I
Yeah.
have links I can post with the video.
Yeah. So we'll tell you what link this is because again, what this video is I wanted the writing down below. Kim just says we couldn't get it, but you can call up and get this video. All right. The newsman talks about George Soros. He's the one that made the decision to take the bubble off. And it just rained all day until 9 o'clock. And there's no reason to take the bubble off. George Soros, I want him arrested for the murder of John F. Kennedy. This evidence I've given the FBI, it's shocking.
Soros said to take the bubble off.
Soros said to take the bubble off. And his name is on about 1 minute and a half. You'll see the writing. You'll see the newsman. You'll see Soros said to take the bubble off. But when you listen to him, he says George Soros. Then when you go back to about 4 minutes, they actually say when he says George Soros again, they say what was it?
4 sorrows.
Huh?
They say 4 sorrows.
They say 4 sorrows. They don't want you to connect George Soros with this.
They say something else.
In the writing, they say 4 sorrows. It has nothing to do with the sentence. Okay, so we're going to pass on that now
That morning it's raining.
to the next one.
Oh, you don't want to watch it?
Elizabeth Forsling Harris was a
Oh,
Democratic
okay.
Party organizer.
They can hear it. They'll hear it.
When the skies cleared later that morning in Dallas, she urged the Secret Service to take the famous bubble top off the presidential car so the crowds could see Kennedy.
It was years before I found out that the bubble top would not deflect a bullet, much less stop one. But I used to wake up in the middle of the night still thinking, if only I had done something else. or if I had not done what I did do.
All the cars, the official cars in the motorcade, and the presidential limo was one of them, and the bubble top was up. And the bubble top was a 1/4 inch thick plexiglass, and it was designed strictly, it wasn't bulletproof.
Not
or any of that. No, a lot of people thought it was, but it wasn't. At any rate, the Secret Service agent was standing at the top of the ramp. I happened to know, because I was a federal reporter. He was the local agent in charge of the Dallas office of the Secret Service. And I said to him, Mr. Soros, I see the bubble top is up. Rewrite wants to know if it's going to be up during the thing. And he looks up at the sky. I'll never forget this. He looks up at the sky, and it's clear. And he says, well, and he yells down at an agent with a two-way radio, and he says, check it downtown. What's it like downtown? The guy goes, oh, la, la. And then he says, clear downtown. And the agent that I'm talking to then yells to the other agents who are in charge of the motorcade, lose the bubble top. So they take the bubble top down. I go, I'm the President of the United States.
We're gonna go further. Keep it rolling, because he talks about, this one I didn't hear him say George Soros. So at 4 minutes, he'll say it, for George Soros.
Arose that morning early to go out and prepare the cars because it was raining and we were trying to make a decision whether to leave the bubble top on or off. Skies broke, and so I said, well, there's the decision right there, no tops, because we were there on a political motorcade, and President Kennedy wanted to meet people. I was driving the follow-up car right behind him.
Another line of protection for the president that wasn't used was the limousine's bubble top.
The bubble top was a plexiglass covering that was put on the car, the presidential limousine.
Okay, that guy, Vince Palomera, all right? He is in charge of, he's an agent. He's in charge of everything, he's a Russian agent. He's in charge of everything about JFK. The news people, if you look up JFK assassination, he's in charge of everything, and he'll explain it to you. That guy. And when I put my comments on his videos, I mean, I even did the work for the FBI. When I put my comments that I'm the only living person that knows why JFK was murdered, they called me the next day every time at 2 in the morning. When I put the comments on his videos. Go ahead.
Conventional wisdom that it was bulletproof and bullet resistant. Turns out it was not bulletproof and bullet resistant in the standard way we think of that. However, it was a psychological deterrent because most people assumed it was bulletproof.
Popular belief has it that the limousine's bubble top was not used for 2 reasons. One, because what started as an overcast and dreary day turned sunny and clear.
The actual films and photos of several motorcades shows the bubble top on in the brightest weather conditions imaginable. So there's a myth that it was only on there for inclement weather. Not true. The bottom line what the bubble top would have done is it would have obscured an assassin's view via the sun's glare.
The second reason most often given as to why the bubble top had not been used is that the president had requested not to use it.
But I spoke to the agent who is the driver of the follow-up car, Sam Kinney. Sam Kinney adamantly on 3 different occasions told me that President Kennedy had nothing to do with it. It was solely his responsibility. The bubble top came in 6 pieces, but sometimes it's on there for just the front and rear pieces were on. So it would be an open car and some semblance of protection as well. A partial bubble top with the front and rear pieces on, and he was able to get air to be able to stand up, and he didn't have that configuration. It's a question of why. Why wasn't at least that configuration used in Dallas?
Get to the heart of that. One thing about all this controversy you got. Well, one thing that came out in these documents, is it true? Were you responsible for the bubble top going on the car? You are. Okay. Because one of the things that they've done is they're supposedly hearing it, JFK said get that at some point, get that going the bubble top off, unless it's raining. There was that comment, that's not true. George Hickey and I went out and I supported that. And it was raining. They were thinking, like, Fort Worth.
Okay, stop right there. Oh, back it up. I want to see the headshot. Okay. One thing that they won't tell you about it, now I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff when we get to the actual shooting. Of course, we know the bullet came from the grassy knoll. The thing is, it was a military bullet. It's called a fractile bullet. Only the military was allowed to have them at the time. Civilians were not allowed to have them. A fractile bullet, if it's a regular bullet, it'll go in with a little hole, a half-inch hole, it'll come out with a little larger hole. It's not going to explode and take 6 inches of his head off. Okay, go ahead, please. I'm listening for George, so when you say that.
They were staying in Fort Worth. Right, he had gone down the 94 with the car. I had no airplane. He went there. It was more than rain. It told me about a 10-minute flight. It would take about 20 minutes, you know, to get airborne. Get your flight battery and come in. And right before we came in, get to the guy going in. Made a long check on the car, and I walked out the door, and this is the sun is shining.
Okay, stop there, please. You know, there's one guy that had the 9mm camera, Zapruder. Okay, that's the only record we have of it. This person that took this shot at the time Kennedy was assassinated, he said, oh, he did this. He said, I better do something. Click, 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 360 degrees. And you know who we picked up? George W. Bush. George W. Bush. There's a picture of him. And you know what the press said to George W. Bush? George, there's your picture. Where were you at the assassination? George says, I don't remember. It's George Bush still says, I do not remember where I was at the time when I heard the assassination. And we have his picture there. Now I'm going to go deeper right now. All right. Do you remember the Kennedy boy that had the magazine called George?
Yeah, Junior.
All right. What?
Was it Junior? JFK Junior? JFK Junior.
Yeah, JFK Junior is his name. He had the magazine George. All right. Here's why he had the magazine George, and here's why he was murdered. The plane went up over the ocean, right, and it blew up where it crashed. Okay. Here's why he was murdered. Because that was on a Friday. On Monday, he was ready to go to print. That's why he named his magazine George. They killed his father. He had all of the facts about George W. Bush killing his father, and it was going to go to print. And that's why they killed him. Yes?
A point of clarity here. You're talking about George H.W. Bush.
The first Bush.
The father.
The
George
father.
W. Bush is the son.
Thank you. Correct me anytime.
Now, George, at that time, he's FBI.
Oh, yeah.
George Herbert.
Oh, yeah.
Herbert at that time was the head of the FBI
Yeah.
in Dallas or the National?
National.
Okay. That's
All right. So, okay, the cameraman went around, did 360 degrees, and he got George, not W.
Herbert.
Herbert, thank you. Okay, let's go on.
But he has no idea where he was when the assassination.
No, he'll still tell you today.
What single person, two people, black dog.
Now,
man-
I'm 71. I know exactly where I was when that traumatic thing happened. There's you're 72,
79.
79,
I was working at
and you
hardware
when
store
some,
at night.
and you too. You know exactly where you were.
Yes. That's 85.
All right, stop there. All right, I'm going to repeat this 2 minutes, 5 minutes from now. Do you see the crowd is 20 people deep all right, in downtown? You mean when they turned down the grassy knoll, there's only 50 people there? I'm going to explain that in a minute. Okay, he did, that's it. That's the one right there. Yeah, that's George Soros. Did everybody hear George Soros?
Yes.
All right, when you look up, now that's it. What is that? Is it this one, 505?
Yeah, 501. George Soros ordered the bubble top off.
Okay, 505. 05. Okay, we got that one. So we're done with that, thank you. Let's do another one. Now, which one is this?
Number 3.
3's Lee Harvey.
Okay, we're getting deeper into this. Now again, the information was given to me by my father, my stepfather. And I want to tell you something. You gotta go, George? You gotta go? You should check your clock.
Right now.
Okay. The sad thing was, when the assassination happened, everybody was watching. Do you remember the ambulance coming to the emergency? Just 2 minutes after he was shot. All right? There's a military man that opens the emergency room doors in uniform and lets him come in. And I wrote in the videos to Vince Palomera on the comments, I said, that's my stepfather. I said, how is a military man waiting for a half hour for the body to come? In uniform, all right? I've had agents, these people that call me, one guy had a flip out and he said, oh, he started crying. He said, I was there in the emergency room when they were operating on him. And I said, oh, tell me about it. And he says, well, I'm getting post-traumatic stress disorder. And he started crying. And I said, well, who else was in the room? He said, oh, a bunch of people, but I didn't know who it was. All right? Then these crazy people called me up a week later. And I said, tell your friend that had post-traumatic stress disorder that he wasn't there. I said, the only people in the room was uniformed military. They sealed off the room. There was 50 of them in that room. Now I told you, I'm going to tell you why John F. Kennedy was murdered. That's the important thing. The reason he was murdered was because he gave a speech 3 weeks before, and he said, I'm pulling our troops out of Vietnam because it's bad for our country. All right? Our economy is war. We're into it now. We're into the war machine. The dollar you have in your pocket was flipped over by 20 people, but it came from war. We have to have war. All right? And that's what got JFK killed. That's why Johnson, the first thing he was announced president, he pulls up his right hand. He was announced president on the plane. He got off the plane in Washington, D.C. He looked at the camera and he said, we're staying in the war because it's good for our country. And then his wife, the mafia, she's the one who supplied all the oil and diesel and gas. She all of a sudden got all the contract. Okay, we're ready. Okay, now this is the shooting.
Ready, play?
All right, I'm going to tell you what to look for, and we'll play it a couple times so everybody sees it. Now I want to tell you about this is Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested on Friday after the assassination at the theater. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, this shooting happened on Sunday in the afternoon. All right, they had him for Friday noon. Okay, 1, 2. So they basically had him for 48 hours, right? There's no record of it, what he said. There's no record of the interrogation or anything. There's no paperwork done. Tape recorders were invented before that, a couple years before that. There should be a tape. No, nothing. There's no record of what Lee Harvey Oswald said or what they asked him, or they didn't write down anything. He ate his lunch. They didn't say anything. All right? So what you're going to see, the joke is, we'll move it a little further forward, just cut it off when you see him at the door. All right, stop there. This man is on Lee Harvey Oswald's right side. It's already all planned for the shooting. This man is one of the murder investigators. He never owned a white suit. He didn't want that. He didn't want Ruby to shoot him, so he bought a white suit. All right. Now, when you see Ruby run up and shoot him, you're going to see all the policemen not grab their guns. They all jump away from Ruby so he can shoot him. That's the joke. These are policemen. If they hear a bang on a high-profile case like this, they're going to do that. None of them do it. It was all planned. So go ahead, run it. All right, now what you're gonna, now hold it. Okay, now what you're gonna see, okay, he's back here somewhere coming in. This is the whole point of what I'm talking about. My neighbor that I showed this stuff to, he says, all you gotta do is tell people about the horn honk. Just before the shooting, 1 second before, there's a horn honk. You'll hear it. That's my father. You're gonna see the hood of a car come right here below the camera, and then you're gonna see my father. He has a full view of the doorway. They gave him a full view, and he's sitting in the ambulance and honks the horn when to shoot. Go ahead. Did you see the hood of his car come up? That's the ambulance. So, cut. Thank you. Play it again. Did everybody hear the horn?
Yeah.
All right, and the police did nothing. They knew that that's the sign.
Here comes the hood, here comes the car.
Yeah.
There he gets shot.
Now here's the joke. The police said, "Oh my gosh, he's been shot, but we have an ambulance here. Hey, let's take him to the emergency." Okay? They took him to the emergency. My father killed him on the way. Okay? That's how that happened. Play the whole thing one last time. Oh, here's the other thing. There are gun experts that say if you take a .38, push it in that guy's guts, you're not going to hurt him. You're just not going to hurt him. If you pull a bullet, it's not going to instantly kill him. It's called a gut shot.
Hurt him, but it won't kill him right away.
Yeah. Okay, let's play this one. Play this through and we're done with it.
There's a man with a gun. Absolute panic. Absolute panic here in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters.
Okay, that's all. That we'll go to the last one. I think it's the last one.
So they're gonna put him in an ambulance, transport him? I mean, that...
Now here's another thing. If you're bringing the #1 criminal that just maybe shot the president, if a horn goes off, you say, wait, what's that?
Yeah.
You don't just say, hey, I've been waiting for the horn to go off, man, so we can get the shooting done.
Were they moving Lee Harvey Oswald at that point, trying to move him to some other place?
Yeah. This is the precinct. They're going to move him to a prison or a cell.
And they're going to move him in an ambulance?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
No, what I'm telling you, none of this does.
Did you say that your father shot him?
No, not my father. Ruby shot him, but Ruby was set up with all this. All right? I can't get into, later on I can get into who they were, what their names, what the organization's name was. All right? But I just want people to digest what I'm telling them so far.
But your dad was driving the ambulance?
Yes.
And he died in the ambulance.
Which one are we on?
What, Rocky, 4 is a longer one. 5 is a short film of the assassination. Like a
Okay,
short one that the
4 is a
slow
longer
motion.
one of the assassination?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll see if we get the information, then we're done.
You want 4 or 5?
No, just go with 4. It's a longer one, but we can cut forward. It probably gets them at the airport.
Yeah, it's at the airport.
Yeah, that's fine.
But this is the first time since 1948 that a president has made an official visit to Dallas.
Now, please don't forget, my stepfather, you can keep it running. My stepfather was involved in all this. Who was military intelligence was involved in all this. And 60s, all the murders in the 60s were military intelligence. All of the big murders. Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy was shot. That's the same thing. Okay, so go forward. Show me where he's going down Main Street with 20 people deep. All right, there's the Secret Service arguing. The guy threw his hands up. Did you see that? because they're going different routes.
He throws his hands up.
Yeah,
There he goes. Where are you going?
he's having an argument.
Why are you going this way?
Yeah. Now, I'm going to get into Donald Trump. A lot of people love Donald Trump. But do you remember what Donald Trump said the first moment he got in the White House? I'm not using the Secret Service, I'm using my own security. All right? That's because they're Russian. They're Russian KGB.
The SS are all Russian KGB?
Pardon?
The SS are all Russian KGB or Donald Trump's?
No, that's why Donald Trump didn't want nothing to do with the Secret Service.
Okay, Donald Trump, the Secret Service is Russian. Donald Trump did not want to use the Russians?
No.
Or Donald Trump wanted to use the
Donald
Russians?
Trump went into the White House and he said, I don't want the Secret Service, I already have my
And
security.
his security was Russian.
The KGB. And they'll tell you, no, Russia failed, there's no more KGB. All right? That was all a Hollywood setup.
Russian KGB with Trump's Secret Service, or Trump's
So
security.
he had his own secret service.
Yeah. The Russians were funding him. And I'll get into it later.
The Russians were funding Trump?
I'll get, some people love Trump, but I'll get into it
I'm
later.
just trying to make sure I got it straight, okay?
Okay, so did you get it so far? You can ask me. Okay, go. Show me the people.
So this is going down that side road. I mean, this is where he gets shot. There's the people.
Okay, this is at the airport still. Take me to jump forward to the downtown. I want them to see the people 20 feet, 20 people
There's
deep.
people all crowded deep.
There we go. Okay, you see all those people, 20 people deep, all right? 2 blocks away, at the shooting, at the moment of the shooting, they're not 20 people deep. Why? I'll explain it to you in a moment. (2:30 p.m.) Okay, stop. This is what, that's okay. All right, they just said the presidential car is turning onto Elm Street. That was not on the agenda, period. There was, when the car was supposed to go straight, and when the Secret Service said, we're turning them on Elm Street, there was Secret Service that stopped in front of the car and said, we're not going down here. That went on for 15 minutes. There was the Secret Service said, we're not going down here, it's not on the agenda, it has been scoped out, period. And everything stopped for 15 minutes until George Soros says, get out of the way, you're fired, we're going down Elm Street. The news is not going to tell you that. All right, go ahead.
Sorry, Rocky, making notes.
Okay, stop. There's plenty of people who are marksmen, military marksmen, and he says, oh, I got the exact gun, and I got up in the spot, and I did this. We were timing it. And the bullets did not go off, bang, an equal space, bang, an equal space, bang, an equal space. All right? The bullets went off, bang, and then bang, bang. That's how fast they went off. Because my father took Zapruder film on Friday, the assassination, and he took it, Kodak's lab. The head lab was in Dallas. And he took it into them because they were military intelligence also. He took it into them and they redid it all through the weekend. Monday they gave it back to Zapruder. That's where they got the bang, equal space, bang, equal space, and bang. It wasn't that way. Even the people that, the eyewitnesses said, no, it wasn't that. And that's why the marksmen say, you can't do it. The equal spacing of those bullets, you can't even shoot somebody like that. Okay.
He got shot.
And very often and you'll find a zipper hidden in the arm.
So what is this, an advertisement?
President's wife, Jackie Kennedy, was not hurt. She won't be in the hospital.
Stop there. Now we're at the presidential limousine is at the emergency room. All right? I told you my father in uniform opened the door on camera. But here's the joke. Monday, they said, well, check the car for bullets. My father went by and took the magic bullet, threw it in the car. On Monday, they found the magic bullet. And the magic bullet, even if it went through a rifle and went through Kennedy, went through the governor, and came back and went through Kennedy, all right, it would have some kind of a mark on it. It's pristine. It was never shot. My father, that's how it got there. My father went and was running the whole thing and threw the magic bullet in the back. Go ahead.
At her husband's stretcher side. Governor Conway was shot in the upper left chest, and the first unconfirmed report say the president was hit in the head. There's an unconfirmed report that the president was hit in the head.
Senator Ralph Yarborough burst into tears just a few moments ago. Senator Yarborough said, I saw a Secret Service man sitting on the rear of the presidential
Okay, cut
car.
that. We missed the shooting in this. They don't want you to see that. So we'll have to go to the other one with the shooting. But what I'm telling you takes in Princess Diana also. All right? I know what happened to her. I was working for the government.
What were you doing for the government, Mike?
What was I doing for the government? Well, all I was intelligence. I was trained on intelligence, period. I never killed anybody. Go ahead.
First time since 1948 that a president has made an official visit.
Okay, there's the plane. So let's go forward to the shooting when he's going down, because that's what we missed. That's what they deliberately took out of that video we just saw. Now I do remember when I was a child, 11 years old, when he was shot, and I do remember that the talk of the day was the government said we cannot release our findings because it'll destroy America. All right, so we're going to seal it for 100 years, and then we're going to seal it for 200 years. You don't know that.
Alan, is this 5?
Yes.
I don't think this is right.
All I'm trying to do is get to the shooting.
It looks like 4.
This looks like the exact same
Yes,
one.
it
That's
does.
what we just saw.
Yeah, it's the same one.
So that's a mistake?
It might be a mistake. Is it labeled 5, right?
It's labeled 5.
Okay, just let it run for a minute. We'll see if we got anything, if we got the shooting
That's all
on
we
it.
got.
The other one's like 20 seconds. It was just literally of the shooting, so I don't know.
Okay, what'd you say?
The last one was just like 20 seconds.
I
This is
remember
it.
you saying that.
This is 5.
Okay.
This is
No, the 20-second clip apparently didn't,
It's not on there.
We didn't get it recorded.
That's
Okay.
the short film number
It
5
wasn't,
right
it
there.
wasn't.
yeah, but it's not on there. It's the
Oh.
it must be duplicated.
Okay, so I'm gonna explain it to you, and you understand, we have to just put up, here's what happened at the actual shooting. All right, the car went down, and when you do see the actual shooting on one of these videos, you see the car go to a sign. There's a street sign there, big street sign, and you'll see an umbrella, the tip of an umbrella on the other side, right by the president. All right, and here's what I was going to show you. That was my brother. All right, that was the umbrella man, and he was pumping the umbrella up and down. And you aren't supposed to know